Hello, my name is Lisa Jett, and I will be telling you about the story Rapunzel, retold by Andrew Lane in his Red Fairy Book after the Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, there lived a man and his wife who were very unhappy because they had no children. These good people had a little window at the back of their house, which looked into the most lovely garden, but the garden was surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to enter it, for it belonged to a witch of great power who was feared by the whole world. One day, the woman stood at the window overlooking the garden and saw there a bed full of the finest rampion. The leaves looked so fresh and green that she longed to eat them. The desire grew day by day, and just because she knew she couldn't possibly get any, pinned away and became quite pale and wretched. Then her husband grew alarmed and said, "What ails you, dear wife?" "Oh," she answered, "if I don't get some of that rampion to eat, I know I shall die." The man, who loved her dearly, thought to himself, "Rather than let my wife die, I will fetch her some rampion, no matter the cost." So at dusk he climbed over the wall into the witch's garden, and hastily gathering a handful of rampion leaves, he returned with them to his wife. She made them into a salad, which tasted so good that her longing for the forbidden food was greater than ever. If she were to know any peace of mind, there was nothing for it but that her husband should climb over the garden wall again and fetch her some more. So at dusk he went over the wall, but when he reached the other side, he drew back in terror, for there, standing before him, was the old witch. "How dare you," she shrieked, "climb into my garden and steal my rampion like a common thief? You shall suffer for your foolhardiness." "Oh," he implored, "forgive me, but I was desperate. My wife saw your rampion from her window and longs for some so badly that she will surely die if she does not have some." Then the witch grew calmer and said, "If it's as you say, you may take as much rampion as you like, but on one condition only, that you give me the child your wife will shortly bring into the world." The man in his terror agreed. So as soon as the child was born, the witch appeared, and having given it the name of Repunzul, which is the same as rampion, she carried it off. Rapunzel was the most beautiful child under the sun. When she was 12 years old, the witch shut her up in a tower in the middle of a great wood. The tower had neither stairs nor doors, only a small window high up in the very top. The old witch wanted to get in. She stood underneath and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your golden hair." For Rapunzel had wonderful long hair, and it was as fine as spun gold. Whenever she heard the witch's voice, she unloosed her plaits and let her hair fall down out of the window, about 20 meters below, and the old witch climbed up by it. After they had lived like this for a few years, it happened one day that a prince was riding through the wood and passed by the tower. As he drew near it, he heard someone singing so sweetly that he stood still and listened. It was lonely Rapunzel, trying to while away the time by letting her sweet voice ring out into the wood. The prince longed to see the owner of the voice, but he sought in vain for the door in the tower. He rode home, but he was so haunted by the song heard that he returned every day to the wood and listened. One day, when he was standing behind a tree, he saw the old witch approach and heard her call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your golden hair." Then Rapunzel let down her plaits, and the witch climbed up by them. "So that's the staircase, is it?" said the prince. "Then I too will climb it and try my luck." So on the following day at dusk he went to the foot of the tower and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your golden hair." And as soon as she had let it down, the prince climbed up by it. At first Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man came in, but the prince spoke to her so kindly that very soon Rapunzel forgot her fear. When he asked her to marry him, she consented at once, for she thought, "He is young and handsome, and I'll certainly be happier with him than with the old witch." So she put her hand in his and said, "Yes, I will gladly go with you. Only how am I to get down out of the tower? Every time you come to see me, you must bring a skin of silk with you, and I will make a ladder of them. And when it is finished, I will climb down by it, and you will take me away with you on your house." They arranged that till the ladder was ready. He was to come to her every evening because the witch was with her during that day. The old witch, of the course, knew nothing of what was going on, till one day Rapunzel, not thinking of what she was about, turned to her and said, "How is it, good mother, that you are so much harder to pull up than the young prince? He is always with me in a moment." "Oh, you wicked child," cried the witch, "thought I had hidden you safely from the whole world, but you have deceived me." Wrath, she seized Rapunzel's beautiful hair, pair of scissors. Snip, snap, off it came. Beautiful plaits lay on the ground, and worse than this, she was so hard-hearted that she took Rapunzel to the desert place, there left her to live in loneliness and misery. That same evening the witch fastened the plates onto a hook in the window, and when the prince came and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your golden hair," she let them down, and the prince climbed up as usual. Instead of his beloved Rapunzel, he found the old witch, who fixed her evil, glittering eyes on him, and cried mockingly, "Ah, you thought to find your lady love, but Rapunzel is lost to you forever. You will never see her more." The prince was beside himself with grief, and in his despair he jumped right down from the tower. Though he escaped with his life, the thorns among which he fell pierced his eyes. Then he wandered blind and miserable through the wood, eating nothing but roots and berries, and weeping for the loss of his lovely bride. So he wandered about for some years, as wretched and unhappy as he could be. At last he came to the desert place where Rapunzel was living. Suddenly he heard a voice that seemed strangely familiar to him. He walked eagerly in the direction of the sound. When he was quite close, Rapunzel recognized him, hugged him, and wept. Two of her tears touched his eyes, and in a moment they became quite clear again, and he saw as well as he had ever done. Then he led her to his kingdom, where they were received and welcomed with great joy, and they lived happily ever after.